So now we're going to dissect an ellipse. And we're going to find the center, the vertices, the co-vertices, and the foci. So here's my equation of an ellipse. You have to complete the square, of course. By doing that, you'll have to move this 59 over, and then you'll see that your x is here and your y is here. You have to complete the square. If you need help with that, you can refer to some of the other videos or the document uploaded as well. Just make sure when you complete the square, you factor out this 9 and factor out this 4 as well. After you complete the square, this is your final product. Notice I factored out the 9, and then this is the completed square part. Factored out the 4, and that's the completed square part as well. Now, for an ellipse, and we know it's an ellipse because we have an addition sign here, and these variables, or these constants out front, are not the same. So that means we have an ellipse. This addition sign and the constants are not the same. So I need to get this equal to 1. So I'll have to divide by 144 first. When I do that, I get x minus 3 squared over 16 plus y minus 1 squared over 36, and that's going to equal 1. So there's my equation. Now looking at this, my major axis always runs the direction of the biggest number, the biggest denominator. So since my biggest denominator is 36 here, I have a vertical major axis. And that's going to tell me which direction that I have to move the vertices. So since I have a vertical major axis, the vertices are going to change the y coordinate. So you'll add or subtract to the y coordinate of the center to get the vertices, which means the co-vertices then change the x coordinate. And the foci of any conic section also lies on the major or the transverse axis in the case of a hyperbola. So since this is vertical, that changes the y coordinate for the vertices, then the foci is also going to change the y coordinate. Alright, so looking at this, I can see that my center is going to be 3, 1. Then I can figure out my a squared and my b squared. Again, a squared is always the bigger number, so it's going to be 36. So a squared is 36, which means a is plus or minus 6. B squared is 16 then, so B is plus or minus 4. So we have A and B. A is for vertices, B is always your co-vertices. We also need C though. Scoot this up a little bit. C we find by using this relationship. C squared equals A squared minus B squared. That means C squared has to be 36 minus 16. So C squared is plus or minus the square root of 20, which is 4.5. Plus or minus, of course. So I know my center, and in order to get my vertices, co-vertices, and foci, I always add the number to the center. So since my center is at 3, 1, I have a vertical major axis, which told us that the vertices change the y coordinate. So that means I'm going to take 1 plus 6 to give me 7, and 1 minus 6, which gives me negative 5. So then my vertices, again, changes the y, so the x is the same, so that stays at 3, comma 7, and 3, comma negative 5. Co-vertices change the x coordinate, and the co-vertices always go with the b. So I'm going to take the x, so that'll be 3 plus 4, which is 7, and 3 minus 4, which is negative 1. So my co-vertices will be at 7, comma 1, x changes, not the y, and negative 1, comma 1. Foci is going to change the y coordinate because, again, the foci lies on the major axis. So I'm going to take what I got for C and add that to the y's. So that's going to be 1 plus 4.5, which is 5.5, and 1 minus 4.5, which is negative 3.5. So then the foci, again, that changes the y coordinate because the major axis is vertical. So my x stays the same at 3, comma 5.5, and 3, comma negative 3.5. Now if I were to graph this, I know my center is at 3, 1, so right here somewhere. Again, I have the coordinate points over here, but if I don't want to use those, if you were using the graph to get the coordinate points, then all you're going to use is what A, B, and C are. From the center, I know I have a vertical major axis, so I would have to go up 6. So I'd be up here somewhere, so that would be a vertex. Then I would go down 6, which would be down here somewhere. And then co-vertices, since I have a vertical major axis, my co-vertices go the x direction. So I'm going to move left and right 4, because that's what B is. So I'd move over 4, let's say that's about there, and 4 this way around here. And then of course the foci, which is going to be up here somewhere, and you'll have one down here as well. The foci, they pretty much just hang out inside the circle. It's used for something else, but we don't talk about that. It's just good to have it plotted. And then connect this, and I have an ellipse. And you'll see here, your ellipse should be longer in the y direction because that's the major axis, and shorter in the x direction because that's the minor axis. And that's how you can find all the pieces you need for an ellipse.